In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. পরম করুণাময়, অতিশয় দয়াবান আল্লাহর নামে শুরু করিলাম। বিসমিল্লাহির রহমানির রহিম. Dear students, today I am in HEC first year class and my subject is English first paper, and I am going to teach you from Unit 1, Lesson 3, and also I will teach you a poem from Unit 2, Lesson 3. Now, here in the first lesson, there are two stories about two women, but due to the shortage of time, I am going to discuss about one woman named Valentina Tereshkova. Actually, she was born in Russia. Now let us read the story line by line. Valentina Tereshkova was born in the village Maslenikovo. That is, it's a Russian word, so it's very much difficult to pronounce. That is Tutoyevsky district. That is, the name of her village is Maslenikovo and the name of the district is Tutoyevsky in central Russia. Actually, this village is in central Russia, and in the previous time when the story is about, actually during that time the Russia was named the USSR, that is United States of Soviet Russia. Now, Tereshkova's father was a tractor driver and her mother worked in a textile plant. That is, she was born in an ordinary family because her father was a tractor driver and her mother was working in a textile plant. Tereshkova began school in 1945 at the age of 8. That is, she started her school life when she was a girl of 8 years old, and actually she started her school life in 1945 but left school in 1953 and continued her education through distance learning. As long as it is mentioned that she continued her study through distance learning, we can understand easily that for some unavoidable family crisis, she had to stop to go to school. Then she continued her study in distance learning. She became interested in parachuting from a young age, and she was dynamic enough and smart enough, so she started to jump by using parachute from her young age and trained in skydiving at the local aero club. As long as this is the story of Russia, so there were a lot of aero clubs, so she actually received training in an aero club near her village, making her first jump at age 22 on 21st May 1959. That is, in 1959, on 21st May, she jumped for the first time at the age of 22. At that time, she was employed, I repeat, at that time, she was employed as a textile worker in a local factory. That is, on that time, she was actually working, and despite working in the factory, she actually practiced how to fly from above the sky. It was her expertise in skydiving that led to her selection as a cosmonaut. That is, she became skilled enough in skydiving. That is why she was selected as an astronaut. Now, after the flight of Yuri Gagarin, the first human being to travel to outer space in 1961. That is, Yuri Gagarin was the first human to travel in the space, and after that, USSR, that is United States of Soviet Russia, decided to send a woman in the space. The Soviet Union decided to send a woman in space. That is, Soviet Union decided to send a woman in the space. On 16 February 1962, Proletaria Valentina Tereshkova was selected for this project from among more than 400 applicants. That is, Soviet Russia decided to send a woman, so they invited applications, and there were 400 applications, and out of 400 applicants, Valentina Tereshkova was selected. Tereshkova had to undergo a series of training that included weightless flights, isolation test, centrifuge test, rocket theory, spacecraft engineering, 120 parachute jumps, and pilot training in MiG-15 UTL jet fighters. That is, when she was selected to be sent to the space, then she actually started to receive training from the authority. Then they trained her how to tolerate the situation when she would be sent in an weightless condition, when she would be isolated, and when she would face the centrifuge movement or speed. Then she also received training on rocket flying, also spacecrafts engineering. Then also she jumped for about 122. Sorry, she jumped for 120 times by putting on parachute, and this is how she was actually receiving training, and she was well trained. Since the successful launch of the spacecraft Vostok 5 on 14 June 1963, that is Vostok 5, a spacecraft, it also launched for the space on 14 June 1963. Then Tereshkova began preparing for her own flight. That is, Tereshkova was also supposed to fly in the sky, so she was actually taking mental preparation. On the morning of 16 June 1963, that is after 2 days of Vostok 5, she was actually supposed to fly. Tereshkova and her backup cosmonaut, that is another assistant, Soloboyova, another person named Soloboyova, were dressed in spacesuits. That is, Tereshkova put on spacesuit and Soloboyova also put on space suits, and they were actually ready to fly in the sky and taken to the space shuttle launch paid by a bus. It is actually like airport, and there is also a port for the spacecrafts to fly. So they were actually taken to the port. After completing her communication and life support checks, she was sealed inside Vostok 6. That is, after the completion of some formalities, she was kept inside the Vostok 6. Finishing a 2-hour countdown, Vostok 6 launched faultlessly. That is, they were kept inside the Vostok 6, and when 2 hours actually the time was passed, then they actually started for the space. Although Tereshkova experienced nausea and physical discomfort for much of the flight, she orbited the Earth 48 times and spent almost 3 days in space. That is, although Tereshkova experienced nausea means vomiting tendency. That is, as long as she was kept inside the spacecraft, it was moving fast, so she felt nausea, that is vomiting tendency, and physical discomfort, and she was actually getting physical discomfort, that is, she was feeling troubled for much of the flight. She orbited the Earth 48 times. That is, despite all this troublesome conditions, she orbited 48 times. That is, she moved around the Earth 48 times, and it's an interesting matter, and spent almost 3 days in space. That is, at the time of doing these things, while she was actually moving around the world for about 48 times, then she had to remain in the space for about 3 days. With a single flight, she logged more flight time than the combined times of all American astronauts who had flown before that date. That is, in comparison with other astronauts, she remained in the sky in one flight for a long time. That is, her duration was longer than any other astronaut. Tereshkova also maintained a flight log and took photographs of the horizon, which were later used to identify aerosol layers within the atmosphere. That is, Tereshkova was well disciplined and well trained, so she was actually taking care of every moment. So she was actually maintaining flight log, and at the same time, while she was in the space, she was actually collecting the photographs, and her photographs helped a lot to discover aerosol layers, and she actually played an important role to discover aerosol layers. Vostok 6 was the final Vostok flight and was launched 2 days after Vostok 5. That is, Vostok 5 started for the space firstly, and later on Vostok 6, that is, in Vostok 6 our Valentina Tereshkova was actually flying. So here the author has considered that Vostok 6 was the final launch of the Vostok flight, which carried Valery Vykovsky into a similar orbit for 5 days. That is, inside Vostok 5, there was another astronaut named Valery Vykovsky, and the person was inside that. That is in Vostok 5. There was another person named Valery Vykovsky. Then landing 3 hours after Tereskova. That is when Tereskova landed on the Earth. Then Valery Vykovsky also landed. Then he actually landed after 3 hours of our Tereskova. The two vessels approached each other within 5 kilometers at one point. And from space, Tereskova communicated with Vykovsky and the Soviet leader Khrushchev by radio. That is when Vostok 5 and Vostok 6, these two spacecrafts were actually flying in the orbit, and they at one point came to the closer distance. That is only, and there was a gap of 5 kilometers. Then in that condition, that is Tereskova communicated with Vykovsky by radio, and also she communicated with Khrushchev, who was actually the leader of Soviet Union. That is the Soviet leader. Our Tereskova communicated from the sky by radio. Much later in 1977, Tereskova earned a doctorate in engineering from Zhukovsky Air Force Academy. That is in 1977. That is after the completion of her flying in the space in 1977. That is there was a long gap, and despite the gap, she continued her study, and she completed her doctorate degree in engineering, and she did that from Zhukovsky Air Force Academy. Afterwards, she turned to politics. Then later on, she decided to participate in politics. During the Soviet regime, she became one of the Presidium members of the Supreme Soviet. That is, during the time of Soviet Russia, then she became actually the member of, she became Presidium member of Supreme Soviet. She became the Presidium member of the Supreme Soviet. Now, this living legend, that is, she went in the space, then she became the first human being, and she became the first woman. So, she is actually a legend. She has been considered here as a legend. Now, she is the part of Russian legislature. On her 70th birthday, when she was invited by the Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, that is, she was invited in Russian Parliament by Vladimir Putin, and she expressed her desire to fly to Mars even if for a one-way trip. That is, when Vladimir Putin invited her in the parliament, then she expressed her desire that she was willing to go to the Mars, and if needs be, she is willing to go there even for a single time. That is, if she cannot come back, she will never mind. Now, this is the story of Valentina Tereshkova, and she was born in 1937, and she was born in an ordinary family, and despite all this troublesome situation, she became the astronaut, and she actually orbited the Earth, and she moved around the Earth, and she did that for about 48 times, and she actually is a living legend at present. Now, we need to consider that if we are born in an ordinary family, we don't need to be frustrated. Now, to bring variety in our study, at this point, I am willing to teach you a poem. It is in Unit 2, Lesson 3, and the name of the poem is The Traffic Police. And it's an interesting poem, and I'm actually teaching you. I have an expectation that you would feel variety in your study. Now, immediate killer speech assistant, that is the traffic police himself is speaking, and he's actually expressing, and he's actually narrating his condition. Immediate killer speech assistant, that is the traffic police telling that he stands in the midst of killer speeds, facing the traffic, stretching my hand. That is, he is actually facing all the dangerous transport. These are truck, bus, and some other transports, and some drivers are unruly. That is, all these troublesome situations are being faced by this traffic police. So he is sometimes stretching his hand actually to show the way, the right path. I am seen on kids' books and as cartoons everywhere. That is, he's telling that he's seen on kids' book, and he's also used in cartoon everywhere, educating people and asking them to beware. That is, he is actually trying to educate the people and he is actually warning them to remain careful. He is actually making them aware of the erratic traffic and the signboard. That is, erratic traffic means speeding traffic, and the signboard, that is, he is also seen in the signboard, seen on almost all the roads. That is, he is seen in the midst of all speeding traffics, speeding transports, and also he is seen in the signboard. Now, so that you are safe, I see each one of you. That is, he standing on the road, he actually looks carefully at everybody and is actually trying to ensure the security of each and everybody on the road. But my sweet, my plight, on the road sees all. Now, here in this stanza, the traffic police actually lamenting that, and though he is doing all these beneficial things for the people, nobody is actually showing any attention to him. Nobody is paying any attention, rather everybody is careless about him. Be it sunny or rainy, that is, he is on duty, whether it is a sunny day, whether it is a rainy day. For your safety, I must be. That is, he is actually doing his duty to ensure the security of the people. Vigilant agile. That is, he is very much able to move quickly, and agile means he is always alert. That is, he is always alert and he is working seriously on the middle, that is in the middle of all the speeding traffics, standing erect, as speed as a fiddle. That is, he is standing erect. He actually does not have any way to sit down to enjoy his life. So he is actually standing like a fiddle. Fiddle is a musical instrument. It is actually violin. He actually stands like a violin. Oh, my ear hurts. He is actually lamenting that his ear hurts. My head aches. That is due to the sound. His ear hurts and his head aches. There are the sounds of horns. There are the sounds of engines. So he is actually facing all these troublesome sounds. Oh, look at the weather, such unpredictable days. Now, he has considered the days as unpredictable because in the morning it is sunny, then after a while it starts to rain, it starts to storm. So, the weather is actually unpredictable. So, despite the unpredictable weather, unpredictable rough weather, he is bound to work. But I cannot swerve, I must be on duty. That is, he is not does his duty. He is not able to does his duty. He is to do his work. I care for your safety because he cares for the safety of the people. Be it noisy or dusty, no matter whether it is noisy, no matter whether it is dusty, be it sunny or rainy, no matter whether it's a sunny day, no matter whether it is a rainy day, he is bound to come to his duty. I must be on duty. I care for your safety because he is on duty. He has the expectation to ensure the security of the people. Now, here in this poem, we have come to know that there is a traffic police and he is actually narrating his duty. He comes to the duty and he does very much hard duty because he needs to stand in the middle of the speeding bikes. There are some dangerous trucks, bus and some other transports. All these are creating dangerous sounds, but denying all these things, he is actually standing erect and he is actually trying to help everybody, and he faces a lot of obstacles, but nobody takes care of him. He is actually trying to get sympathy from the people. So we must be sympathized with the traffic police. And this is all for today. Actually, I am not going to prolong my talking, and I am willing to come to the next classes. And till then, goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.